Meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends and Daily Record newspapers, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
How's the camera on? Is the camera? All right. Please join me for a pledge of allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all of the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen.
Ms. Marsh, please call the roll.
Mr. Dreese?
Present.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Hurd?
Here.
Mrs. Russell?
Here.
Mayor Cole?
Here. Next on the agenda is presentations where angels play, playground donation. Take it away, Bill. Did I say Bill right?
That's correct, yes. Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Bill. How are you, council members?
Hi.
Mr. Attorney, I had an opportunity to speak with your town manager, Adam, and so my name is Bill Lavin. I'm the founder of Where Angels Play, and what brings us here tonight is the wish to build a playground in honor of Tommy Savino, which many of you know is now an angel, and or a hero, depending on your take. But and I'll tell you why. Our history is born out of tragedy. I'm a retired fire captain from the city of Elizabeth and responded to 9/11 along with so many others, and we wanted to do something to honor our brothers and sister firefighters and first responders who we lost that tragic day. So we started to build playgrounds after Hurricane Katrina in Mississippi, after they had their tragedy there. And then fast forward to Hurricane Sandy, we started to rebuild. I was also the president of the state FMBA, the Firefighters Union, and so we wanted to rebuild our coast after Hurricane Sandy had hit. And just as we were really feeling sorry for ourselves and thought we had problems, the tragedy of the Sandy Hook Elementary School happened, where 20 children, young first graders, were killed in a shooting, along with 6 educators. So we thought, what could we possibly do? My mother used to have a quote. She would say to me, Bill, if you threw your problems in a pile with everyone else's, you'd fight to get yours back. And we realized that my job at the time was to sometimes debate and argue with mayors and local officials and senators and governors over pensions and benefits and salaries and safety and manpower and staffing and all those good things. And I thought I had a tough life, and until we were reminded how precious our children are. So we got our answer shortly after. We received a video from the kids from Mississippi who wanted to pay it forward to us and remembered the playground we had built after Katrina, and we're sending Christmas gifts to the children of New Jersey. So light bulb went off, and we thought, hey, maybe we should get back to building playgrounds. So we met with some of the families. We didn't know 1 or 5 or 10 of the families from Sandy Hook Elementary would trust us with the memory of their child, but all 26 remarkably did. And the idea was to build a playground in their favorite color, their favorite sport, to celebrate how they lived, not how they left us. So they all did, and there are, in 19 months, we built 26 playgrounds. These are some of the structures here. Some are built on the beach, some on rubber surfacing, and some on the wood fiber in parks, such as the one we're hoping to build here. So it was a beautiful project. We worked. We thought we were done. We thought, as retired, most of us are either retired police and firefighters, and that would be the end of the project. But the families had a different idea. They wanted to pay it forward to other locations, other communities that, either the community needed or to honor, a special angel. And so we've been to 61 locations. We just, on this past Saturday, cut a ribbon in New Haven, Connecticut for a Dr. Kathy Carroll from Yale University in a very poor community. This one shows Canada on the left for a little boy there who was the son of a Toronto firefighter. And on the right, this is furthest we've been away, in one of the poorest communities in the world, in Kibeho, Rwanda. So why are we here? Tommy Savino, steep tradition in hockey. He was a referee for us in one of the tournaments in Woodbridge that we were raising money for where Angels play. And sure enough, we had given him a coin to remember us by. He carried this coin around, really precious, and he was struggling with his illness, and ultimately, joined the Angels not too long ago. So his family and his friends put together a hockey tournament to raise money for all people but us. And after they did that, with no encouragement or work on our behalf, we started to talk afterwards. After having an iced tea or a cold Coca-Cola, we thought that we maybe perhaps would build a playground in honor of Tommy right here in his hometown. So we think we have a location. One of the beautiful things about the project is its grassroots. We don't require a whole lot from the town, except we would love to have a partner in, with the DPW, and sometimes we need support in machinery, but very limited. If we don't get it, we find a way to get it ourselves. No tax dollars are used, which is always, a nice thing to hear. We go as fast as our fundraising allows. We're not against anybody who wants to support us, but we do have mechanisms. We have some great corporate supports at Home Depot and Jersey Mike's and others. But we do have about 8 or 9 projects to get done before we're able to break ground here. So our target date is probably fall of 2024 is when we would like to venture into this with the support of this body. And it really will not be from me or from our group, but rather from the Savino family, and in particular a gift from Tommy, where this community would be able to honor him, and kids would play. And our thought process is that these Angels, their legacy would live on through the efforts of their family. The family refuses to have their son forgotten, and he obviously made an impact enough here and with us that we're venturing to do this project. So this was a tournament that they had put together for Tommy. I know the slides were going. I don't know what I missed there.
I wanted to show this is...
Okay, so that's the other thing that you should know. This isn't just a barn raising or, some firefighters with nothing better to do than to build a playground. This is, it's done with our contractors. It's done to international playground standards. It's not a small unit. It looks small there, but it's 3,000 square feet, done to all specifications. What we would ask this body is, or this town to do, is maintain it after we leave and insure it like you would do any other piece of your park. We'll build it to the proper specs and find a way to raise the money to do it. I'm sorry, Adam, the name of the park?
Greenview Park.
Greenview Park. You have a structure there, which is beautiful. The difference between what we're going to put there and what's there now is ours have these ramps that make it handicap accessible, so a differently abled child or a grandparent would be able to access the structure. And
Mr. Lavin, you don't want the clarification. At Greenview, there's a couple different areas, so this would be the one closest to West Parkway.
Oh, I was wondering, okay.
It would be the east side
The original one.
east side of the mound.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the original one that's surrounded by the swings.
Yeah, that could use something like that there. That's beautiful.
The mound.
So I think my daughter, I should introduce my daughter, Mary Kate. She's actually the executive director of we have one employee, so, how, and she is it. She is our audio-visual, our head fundraiser, accountant, marketing, financial. And the reason I say that is, it's important that we're very lean. So the nice thing about having these exorbitant pensions that some people would think for firefighters and police is that we get to retire and be able to do stuff like this. And, we're happy to do it. So she is our one employee. So 90+% of the funds that we raise actually go to a playground. The staff, the Angels Army, they call themselves, some are here, the Kennedys, Kevin and Deb Kennedy and their son Dylan. Dylan actually is a hockey player and brought the attention to us of Tommy, and they are an incredible group of volunteers. They've traveled, as I said, to Pine Ridge, South Dakota, on an Indian reservation there, to Rwanda, all on their own dime, and we encourage the local community to participate. We're an ever-aging volunteer group, and the bags of cement don't get any lighter, so we would like some newly retired or younger guys to help us continue the project. So, and in 2024, we're going to be even older. Typically, sometime I'm looking at your attorney who's probably thinking, how do we, the legalities of this, but sometimes there's a memorandum of agreement drawn up that, basically says that where Angels Play agrees to, hold harmless the town, for all of our folks sign a waiver and are held harmless as they volunteer their time, and we raise the money, and with some of the partnership and the things that we need, it's a pretty clean arrangement. I could offer you 61 other municipalities throughout the state, the country, and they'd be willing to, speak on our behalf. So there's no pressure for you to agree to do this. We're going to build a playground for Tommy Savino somewhere. I think this is the right place, and we would love to, have your support behind it. So I don't know if there's any questions for me.
Sounds like a great idea.
I think it's fabulous.
We'll figure it out, don't worry.
I don't have a question, but I can say that I love what you're doing, because it takes, a family and friends and people to be passionate about something and keep his legacy alive. And you guys need to, you're advocate for him. I had a brother that was lost over 42 years ago, and the community, he grew up here, his friends came out and planted a tree at Greenview Park for him to keep his memory alive, but it never went on and on and on. And I think something like this is just so wonderful, somebody that made an impact in others' lives. So I think we'll make this happen.
Right,
so,
right.
This is going to be a great place for Tommy's spirit to live.
Right. I would tell you it is the most selfish thing that we ever do. We get far more out of it to watch Tommy's family and the grace with which they deal with his loss. But we believe he's not gone, and here's a way to have him never be gone and to be remembered forever. But it's inspiring, not on our behalf, but really the families. Can you imagine speaking with the families of Sandy Hook and some of the folks that have lost little tiny ones, and somehow they get up in the morning and continue to move on. And if they can, how much easier could it be for those who aren't on that journey? So it's really our privilege to do it, and just judging by the town and driving through, and it's a special place, and we'll find a way to do it. We'll work with your folks who dot the I's and cross the T's, and
Great.
And we appreciate the time. I probably.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep, let's do it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it. Anything we can do to help.
Awesome.
Okay.
We'll make it happen.
Thank you. And you're going to forgive us if we don't stay.
The rest of the board.
I made sure they knew they were first.
Yeah.
Mentioning about repurposing.
Oh, yes. Thanks, Wayne. One of the things that is a possibility, and what we've done makes it even more special if we could do it, but the playgrounds that you have there now are in really fairly decent shape. If there's a group called Kids Around the World, and we've done this with them on occasion. The way we were able to build a playground in Puerto Rico and Rwanda is because you can't take a playground out in the U.S. as far as I know with the laws and the insurance. You can't repurpose them. Once they come out, that's it. But you can repurpose them and send them to some third world countries, and we were able to do that. So Kids Around the World works with us in some cases. If we were able to take out the playground as it stands in a manner that doesn't destroy it, we could repurpose it and send it maybe to Haiti or to Jordan or to maybe even Africa again, and have it, or Puerto Rico, or a place that needs it and is allowed to have it. So if that's possible, Pequannock could have a sister city somewhere. So if that's possible, it's not an easy thing. It's much easier to grab it with a backhoe and pull it out and put it on a trash heap. But if you can salvage it, we could possibly find a home that Tommy would pay it forward to even another
That's awesome.
beautiful spot. So
Great job.
Yeah. So thanks for.
Bill just mentioned, though, that's not on them. It would be on volunteers from town or somebody that, have some knowledge on how to take the thing apart.
Yeah.
Right.
He would manage repurposing it, but not taking it apart.
We have, just so you know, we are leaving for Stanley, Virginia to honor a police officer there who was killed in line of duty in a week from today. We'll accept that. Then we go to Colony, New York, and then back. We take the summer, a couple months, and then we go to back to New Jersey. So we have a full schedule and things to get done, but the team that supports Tommy, his legacy is real, and there's a lot of people who want to put their money and their energy behind him. So I don't foresee. And again, I did mention, I can't say enough. I know you have a few nearby, but the Jersey Mike's organization has adopted us and done some wonderful things. So if you want to get a number 7 with bacon.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill, and
Thank
all of
you.
your volunteers.
Thanks, guys. Great job.
Thanks.
All right. Next on the agenda is public comment. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period of public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals... Oh, sorry. We got to step back for a minute. Reports from volunteers. Any reports from volunteers serving our town? Okay. No, they're leaving.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought I had a great idea until that guy talked. Oh, no. I'm here as the president of the Chamber of Commerce tonight. I'm here to propose what's going to be called the Pequannock Country Rock Fest at Greenview Park on July 29th. We're going to have, well, I already reserved the Eagles Tribute Band, so hopefully we can work this out, or they will be playing in my backyard. But I'm also going to get 2 other bands like that, and we're going to have vendors. We'll have, take a look at my notes, food trucks, vendors, chamber members can set up for free a table to promote their businesses, and we hope to have a beer tent as well.
When is that?
July 29th. I have Greenview reserved in case this is a go.
And what do we need to do?
So what do we need to do?
I guess approve it.
So, conceptually, it's a little different than anything that's been done in the past, so my recommendation to Mr. DeBeese was to present the idea to the council. If the council doesn't have any concerns or objections, he would follow the same process any other group using the park would do, which would be the necessary reservations, insurance, indemnification, all the other things, alcohol, governing bodies, ABC.
I didn't believe we
folks.
allowed alcohol at Greenview Park.
And with the special permit.
Yeah, but last time we had the special permit had to come from the first aid or the fire, I thought.
We allowed it at our event. I don't know if we've ever allowed it at anyone else's event.
Right. So I
So
think
that would be a differentiating factor.
that would be a door that we open. That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
That's the prerogative, the council. That would be a change of unwritten policy and past practice.
So is it a matter of the park? Because I know that obviously the Oktoberfest is a similar event. It's not at Greenview, but it's at the park behind Town Hall.
But it's sponsored by one of our, it's because...
First Aid Squad.
It's a first aid, which is
Right.
they're one of us.
Okay, I thought they weren't technically, but either way, is it something we can do?
What would be the decision that the council would have to make? The fact that...
If we let one group have alcohol, we have to let all groups have alcohol.
All outside groups that don't fall under our...
Yeah, and just to be clear, the First Aid Squad is technically an autonomous corporation, but we do insure them.
Okay.
And we do provide them with all the risk management services, so that's where that kind of...
Right, gray area.
What would be the responsibility of the town and the responsibility of them if we were allowed them to get a permit to do that?
Technically, the governing body is the local ABC board, so the governing body would have to not have any objection to it. Other than that, it would simply be consistent with any other group who wanted to make a reservation to use the park, and procedures would be followed accordingly.
There is a limit to the number of social affair permits you can have in any one location.
Okay.
So that just might be an issue.
Do you know what the limit is?
It's either 12 or 24.
We're good.
I don't know how popular.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it as long as, I don't know how everybody else feels.
Thoughts, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a good idea, but I see Carol's point is you have to say yes for everybody. but
If
then
we
again,
say
what-
yes for one group, we have to say yes for any group that wants to rent.
Bob, do we have to?
Well, if they're under similar circumstances, you do. You're not going to have a policy that prohibits alcohol, which is easier. You'll have to hear each individual. You'll have the right to ask them how they're going to manage it, right? That's always a concern with these social affair permits.
So we can ask this
So,
question
it's-
right here.
but
How is it going to
I
be
get the
managed?
point from the councilwoman that, you have to have a reason. You'd want to have a reason to say, no, you wouldn't just want to say, we don't
Right.
like this group.
So...
Right, so you do have some
So
discretion.
your idea is to do this for what? Like, what is the goal of it? Just for the people of Pequannock Township?
For Pequannock to raise some money for the interests of the chamber?
So it's a fundraising for the
Yes,
chamber?
yes.
Right. So if anybody else came to us that said they wanted to do a fundraising for their group, we're setting a precedent. That's...
And would you have it without the beer?
Potentially. I think I already hired the band. I'm having this thing one way or another.
I guess the difference is, this is replacing the street fair.
Yes.
And now you're doing it more as a fundraiser for the chamber, where the street fair was not a fundraiser?
Oh, no, it was supposed to be. It just never made a lot of money until I put it in
Okay, so I'm trying to
TV Park.
understand the difference.
Yeah, but
between the-
I think the street fair was more to give businesses...
Well, it's the same concept here.
People visual, they could see and meet the business owners, and
And there-
I kind of wish the chamber would do the street fair again. A lot of people do, I know.
Yeah, that's, before my time, it was decided it would be best if we took that off the street for several reasons, and, I can start going into some of that, but we don't have the bandwidth right now to manage a street fair, the chamber as it exists right now. I do hope to do it, maybe even bring the street fair back in a year or two, but right now, it's kind of just me until I really get more people involved.
So what is the difference between managing the street fair and managing this huge party with alcohol?
There's a lot more moving parts to the street fair.
Okay,
Well, he said he would hold it without the alcohol. so-
okay, yeah.
And maybe that's where we need to go, because we need to understand what the chamber's mission is, to your point.
Right.
You're here to promote businesses.
Yes.
You're trying to do a fundraiser, and, maybe alcohol doesn't need to be involved in it the first time,
If we do allow alcohol, it's going to have to be fenced off. You're going to have
Right.
to stay
Yes.
in a fenced-in area. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see it happen. I'm okay without the alcohol.
I'm fine with it without the alcohol.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way, just don't want to open a box right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Maybe we see how this goes the first year, and if it's a successful fundraiser.
So you're going to explain to me how this is going to work? Like, you're going to have...
Well, on
And
a
I'm sorry,
stage...
where is it again?
Yeah, so the stage will be set up similar to how we do for the hoedown.
Okay.
We're going to have bands from roughly 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. and we'll have vendors, we'll have food trucks, we'll have offer to all the members of the chamber to have a table there for free so that they can promote their businesses.
Thanks.
Maybe some things for the kids. We'll see how much we can invest.
And it's going to be free to residents, and it's going to be...
Well, no, I'm going to be, it's going to be, we have to charge money.
Somebody should pay.
Yes.
It's not a fundraiser.
Oh, so you're going to charge money for people to come into Greenview Park on that day?
Yes.
What happens if somebody just wants to go play tennis?
Well, we're not going to.
They can.
Can we do that?
We'd have to have it set up in such a way that...
So they can't play tennis, or they can play tennis?
No, they could play tennis. Of course, they couldn't come into the field area without paying, yeah.
Is there a plan marked up of like where the trucks are going to park and where the
That's all I guess.
setup? I mean, I guess you'll get there, but
Yeah, no, I didn't lay it all out yet. I wanted to get
Yeah, I'd
approval
be
first.
curious to
but-
see how everything was going to be set up and how you're doing the entrance and parking and...
So would it be prudent then to ask Mr. DeBeese to put together a formal proposal
Yeah, I was just going to
presentation?
say, maybe that's what we
And that
need
way,
to do.
the council can better make a decision based on what is actually on paper before them?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because this is the first time you're doing this, and it is different than promoting the businesses.
And it is big.
And, yeah,
Has the potential.
yeah, if you get good bands, it probably will be.
Yeah, the headlining band is the Eagles tribute band called Winslow. They're very big, and Eagles, everybody loves the Eagles, and I think that's a great place to start. We try to get a couple other like bands underneath them, but I had to reserve them, or else I would have lost them.
So this is going to be totally run just by the chamber and their members.
Yes.
But it's a fundraiser for the chamber, and then the money that you raise is for...
So we're going to go to interest of the chamber. You know, we have projects that we're trying to get off the ground this year. We are getting off the ground, such as we're trying to do a beautification project for the retail areas on the Turnpike. Peter and I were just talking about that, but also we wanted to, at a minimum, do a booklet that has all the members of the chambers that goes into all the retail chamber businesses to be given out, and also to be given out to people as they move into town. We've talked about some of that at the EDC also. So the more we have, the more we can do along those lines.
So what are some of the other things that the chamber has donated money to?
We donated about $750. It was $750 to the FBLA through the Polo Plunge. We do scholarships. We did $2,000 in scholarships this year. About to buy a bench, right, Ryan?
And
Ryan, you there?
and how are you guys promoting like businesses? Like,
Ryan?
yes, ma'am. How are you?
Through this event?
Well, through
In general.
just in general, how does like the chamber's supposed to help businesses?
Yeah,
Yes,
I understand where she's going. It's more about businesses, and a
Right.
lot of the things that you've been donating to, Chamber's been donating to, is more not business related.
Well, we do social media for all the members of the chamber. And again, to your point, we had our first networking event with another organization. At the beginning of the year, I put a survey out for the chamber asking, what do you want to do? What can we do to help promote the businesses? And that was the first thing that everybody kind of jumped on, our networking event. So we started one up with the Lincoln Park Business Owners Association. We're going to do another one probably in June and do more like that. So that was, again, one. And the idea of the beautification of the retail areas in town is also for the businesses. But then I wanted to also do at least one project that touches everyone, not just the retail areas, and that's the booklet I'm talking about. Just a simple pamphlet with all the businesses in the chamber, and it's also a way to help get businesses into the chamber. You're going to want to be in this booklet that's going to be everywhere. And,
Good idea.
Yeah.
Like a business directory.
Yeah, very simple, nothing crazy expensive, just something functional.
And that it would be something that the chamber would take on.
Yes.
And make sure it gets updated
Yes.
and passed out. Okay.
Couldn't that be a fundraiser in itself? Just Just like,
We're not
hey,
selling them.
join our booklet. It's X amount for a half page, X amount for a whole page.
Yeah, we
X
could
amount for a quarter
do it that way.
page.
If you're in the chamber, you're going to get in it, but to your point, we could say, okay, instead of a quarter page, you can get a full page for X amount. Yeah, I get that. That could raise a few bucks.
Yeah. How much do you plan on charging per person at this event you're having?
Well, I was thinking with beer, it would have been different. It would have been a possibility of $20 with 2 free beers, but now I'm thinking more like 10.
Okay.
Why doesn't he just come back to us with a
The whole
formal
proposal. Okay, so we'll have
Okay.
everything. Okay.
have everything in it, what you're going to charge, and
Okay.
The areas to be
The
delineated.
layout.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
the layout's
against it,
important.
but I understand what the councilwoman is saying. Let's see the whole.
Okay.
I mean, I love the idea. I
Yeah,
love the
it's
easel.
going to look a lot like the like Pride Fest layout, but I'll take it to the next level, absolutely.
Yeah, we just especially with the alcohol, I don't want Greenview to turn into a party thing every Saturday, with bands playing and stuff like that, so I think
Why not?
because the residents would go nuts.
And that's my whole concern, is the next person
You know.
coming in and saying, oh, we're going to have something too.
But you said it
I'm
would only
raising
go
money
till
for such
8
and
o'clock.
such, and
Yes, 8 o'clock.
And then people out of town wanting to come in,
They're only going till 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it, for that reason, I didn't want to disturb the neighbors. It's still sunlight at that time, and we're clearing everybody out.
It's a great idea. Let's just
Yeah.
flesh it out a little bit more.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Any other
guys.
volunteers? You're more public comment, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just give me 1 second, all right? So no other volunteers, we're going to move to public comment.
Peter put his hand up.
Peter?
No.
Yes.
He was like waving and saying hello and saying goodbye.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. The public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period of public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized. Come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. This is heard.
Good evening.
You got to make sure I see you over there. You're behind the post.
Bonnie Hurd, 6 Cameron Avenue. I just want to make the council aware that the 13 feet behind our home, as well as my neighbors, which you refer to as the lane, all right, that is an easement, or was an easement, by JCP&L. I reached out to JCP&L, and I spoke to John, Santucci. He's the senior right-of-way specialist in Morristown. And basically, he said, when we first bought our home, there was a pole in that easement, an actual telephone pole with the wire running to the farmhouse that has since been knocked down, but it gave them the electric. They removed that telephone pole on my property, but my fence is before it, and they put the wire for electric going from the street to the farmhouse. So JCP&L said they have no use for having an easement behind those 3 houses, mine included. So I just want to move my fence back to 13 feet. There's no need for, move my fence back. There's no need for them to access a telephone pole anymore because it doesn't exist. John said they physically removed it and the electric's coming off the pole in front of my house to the farmhouse as well as mine. Just want to make you aware also to move my fence back and take advantage of the 13 feet that was given to us. Well, we always owned it, but we always had the easement. The neighbor behind us, which is renting, that's the home that is owned by the Gulf gas station. They have already went ahead and paved part of my property and my neighbor's property. But they never got, as far as I know, they never got authorization to pave that. He made a wider driveway and took part of my 13 feet, my neighbor's 13 feet, and my other neighbor's 13 feet on it. So I just want to make the township aware of it. The JCP&L, on their easement, he said, move your fence back. It's your property, that we don't need the easement, but that lane used to be some gravel, and over the last 10 years, I would say it's just dirt. It's not even gravel. But he took it upon himself to pave himself a driveway at his 13 feet, plus took part of our 13 feet. So I want the town to be aware JCP&L does not have a problem moving the fence back. Do any of you guys have a problem with moving our fences back 13 feet?
I'm going to refer to Mr. Usman.
Yeah, it would not be, it is the town, once the town vacated right of way,
Right.
the town no longer has an interest. Now, when we vacated it, we did preserve the rights of public utilities to use it, right? And that's state law. When we vacate a road, the rights for utilities are preserved in that. But the fence is not inconsistent with the rights of utilities, which is what
But
you're
the
saying.
utility's not there.
There's none there. Yeah, there could be
According
future,
to-
there could be future utilities, and when you put the fence up, you recognize that that's always a possibility. I think a pretty unlikely possibility.
Yeah, because
But it-
CP&L
yeah.
took their pole down and...
So I don't believe you would be denied a permit. What is required under township policy, as I'm led to understand it, is there's an agreement that gets signed when you put anything in what was the right-of-way or where there is an easement, simply acknowledging that that's what it was. And I think we have something on the agenda to that.
So the process would be that they would apply for a permit?
Correct.
Right, and what about the
The other
paved
guy already
property?
paved over part of
Yeah,
the
what about the
property.
Well, that's a
property.
private, that's
So
an
what
issue.
happens now?
That's
You'd
no
have to take
different
them
than
to
if somebody
court.
came and paved one of our properties. It's not permitted, and we don't enforce that. That's a private issue. It's
so
not
that's
it's not a
for her?
township issue.
Okay.
Between them, but it
So
would
if they
not
wanted to
impact-
bring that up, they'd have to take them to
Get an
court?
attorney and
Take it up with the individual.
Yeah, there's, if you don't mind me jumping in, there's been some significant discussion about this, and the challenge is when the township vacated the right-of-way, there is specific language about use and access, and what was and isn't, and what continues.
Right.
And what ultimately results is, as Mr. Ustaik mentioned, is it's a private property dispute not involving the township.
But when we vacated, we notified all the property owners and told them what they can and can't do with their property, or no?
We don't do that, but we did notify them, of course, that we were vacating, and once we vacated, the law said basically we give up the public's right to use that.
But for the easement that's retained, which is why you have Resolution
Except for the-
125 on for your consideration this evening, which is consistent with every other drainage or other easement where the council has been asked to consider the approval. And essentially, as Mr. Ustaik mentioned, recognizes the fact that if something would need to be installed, or if the township would need access to it, any damage or issue that comes from the fence that's installed is the responsibility of the property.
Pretty unlikely in these circumstances.
Yeah, because...
Correct. In many circumstances.
John
Many
from the senior right-of-way specialist verified the telephone pole was moved, the wires were redirected off of another telephone pole. So they don't
Right.
want the easement anymore, or they don't need it anymore.
Right.
They did 12 years ago.
Two different entities, though. This is the
Yeah.
municipal easement.
Right. But I just was speaking to Jersey Central Power and Light, and just wanted to make the town aware of, there is no telephone pole. It's been removed and redirected, and I'm moving my fence back, and I will fill out the permit, which I filled out when we replaced the fence.
And with an understanding of, God forbid, some utility wants to come in there for some unknown reason, which we highly doubt, there still potentially could be an easement there.
Which is why we have...
Could be utilities installed.
For utilities only, it's not an easement, it's for the rights of public utilities.
Right away.
That
How do you
existed there.
remove that off the maps then, if there's nothing there anymore?
So, yeah, so on our tax maps, eventually, that will no longer show because it's
Oh,
been
okay.
vacated. It will no longer show as a public right-of-way.
I think what Mrs. Hurd is asking is, the easement that was preserved when we vacated the lane will persist. That will never be removed.
Correct.
Oh, so even though...
So regardless of JCP&L or anybody else, with the vacation, that is always done to preserve the right should it ever become necessary. So that will always persist.
Oh, so it doesn't remove off the maps?
Correct.
It's
That aspect of it is correct. It's no longer a right-of-way.
Even though JCP&L said they don't want it anymore.
Correct. Right.
They're
Now, they may have, I don't, they may have their own private easement that they want to vacate. I don't know about that, but the rights of public utilities to locate are preserved once we vacate.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? I don't see you behind the post either, so just, give me a wave over here. All right.
Hello, Dave Vaslenko. That playground thing is awesome.
Yes.
I want to help.
Yes, it is.
I want in. When you guys decide, I want in. Mine is a lot less, so we want to do a townwide garage sale. Everybody was asking in town, can we do it, can we do it? So I'm not running it, but I picked a date for people to do it, June 9th and 10th. And once the date went out, everybody was asking, because it's a townwide garage sale, can we waive the $5 permit fee just for those 2 days?
And I looked into that because I saw it on your Facebook post. When we ran it, we charged the $5.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, so I would think we'd have a hard time saying no,
right.
that we
Okay.
can't.
Right.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
If we waived it when we did ours,
Yeah, that'd be
I'd say,
different.
it would be a different story, but
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's it. Thank you.
council gets a black eye, I guess, one for that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Me now?
Yep.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
Good. Name's Mike Tomko, 234 Sunset Road. I'm here because we received a letter from, I guess, about the water main extension on West Sunset.
You're right on the curve?
Yeah, we're on the curve.
I believe you've been taken out of that, correct? Because you already have city water.
Yes, I do. Yeah, since 95.
Yeah, so we're not going to include you.
So I'm good?
correct?
Yeah, if anyone's here on that subject, we're going to have a special public hearing just on that.
Yeah, that's the next item on the agenda.
So
do I
we'll be
stay
there,
for that? I
we'll
don't
be
want-
right there with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But we have, the recommendation is to remove.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so being no other public comment,
Sorry, 5 minutes too early. Doing well.
next on the agenda is the manager's report. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be as brief as I can. This evening, obviously, thank Where Angels Play. I had the opportunity to meet with them earlier today, and I'm very excited about that. It's a phenomenal opportunity to work collaboratively towards something that's just tremendous. Newbridge was originally scheduled this evening for a presentation. As a result of their scheduling issues, they were unable to attend. However, they will be reaching out to Carol's office in the future for rescheduling that. There were questions in the past about the schedule for the Route 23 sewer project. Within my memo, I identify the following, few meetings as targets to get everything delivery-wise and deliverable-wise done and presented, ultimately culminating with the award of the project on July 11th, which is within the 60-day extension that the contractor provided us. So that's the plan, if you will, moving forward. This evening, we have public hearing and potential adoption the introduction of the zoning map amendment. This was discussed at the last council meeting for the one property that was erroneously brought in under the wrong zoning because of some confusion with respect to prior ownership. We're spending an extraordinary amount of money this evening, which I take as a good thing in a way because it means that the request that the department heads put in wasn't for naught. They were chomping at the bit. So there was a lot of effort put forth by a number of people. I'd like to especially thank Chairman Benelli and the Fire Department's Truck Committee. In a very short period of time, there was a lot of good discussion, many meetings held, a lot of volunteer hours to come up with a recommendation for the replacement of Tower 2. So I thank Chief Birkenbush, Chief Daly, and Chairman Benelli. They did tremendous work, and it was a great process to see happen. They didn't agree on everything, but they worked through it and were able to come up with consensus and make a recommendation. So I thank those gentlemen.
And just so the community knows, we're paying $1.9 million for a fire truck with no new debt to the township. That's a cash purchase.
Saved up for, planned for, managed effectively. So good work done.
Trucks aren't cheap.
No, and they're not getting any cheaper.
Getting it for 2 years.
Nor younger. And it takes 2 years to build.
We're not getting it for 2 years.
The 2024 municipal paving program is scheduled for the council's approval this evening. The priority is really to address those areas that PSC&G paved half the road for, and paved the balance of the road, so the asphalt is in a similar condition. Unless there are any other questions or anything specific on any of the multitude of resolutions authorizing various procurement activities, that's my report.
Did we set aside more than that for paving, or is that what we set aside?
That's what we set aside exclusive of DOT.
Okay. Yeah, we always like grants. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we love to do things with other people's money.
Yeah.
In
All
our
right. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is public hearing on West Sunset Road Water Main Extension Assessment. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, sir. In 2014, ordinance number 29 was adopted, which called for the improvement of West Sunset Road and those properties to receive water. There was an agreement struck with a developer in town to effect that installation, and the original ordinance called for 15 properties to be assessed once the project was completed. It's acknowledged that 2014 was not yesterday or last year, As a result of some litigation and finally getting everything tied up in 2022, the matter was moved forward and scheduled for the council's consideration to confirm the hearing, confirm the assessment, excuse me. This evening is a public hearing for anyone who is scheduled to be assessed to be heard. There are 2 resolutions in the council's packet in addition to the assessment report, which is all available to the public. There is a resolution that lists all 15 properties, and then there is a resolution that lists 6 of the 15 as a result of recommendations from the prior township engineer and the current township engineer. The reason for the difference in numbers of properties is those that were eliminated or recommended for elimination are not deemed to be served by the improvement. But that is something that can administratively be handled. It must be addressed by the governing body in the process of the assessment confirmation. So if there are any questions from the council, I'd be happy to do my best to address them, or if you'd like to open the public hearing, whatever your pleasure.
Any comments before we open?
No, maybe later.
All right, is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion open.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. If anyone in the audience has any questions or comments on the assessment, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record.
Me now?
Just your name, we don't need your address anymore.
Okay, Michael Tomko. And we had had water since 1995 at our property.
You don't want it again?
We don't want it again. No, we don't want it again.
Do need the address, because I don't know which house it is.
Yeah. Which lot and block?
We do need it.
150115?
Okay.
I know that, I don't know.
Is that
why.
good? No,
I can confirm Mr. Tomko's representation that the property has been served with potable city water since the mid-90s.
you have a letter from Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, so
Mr. Smith, the...
150113?
150113.
Okay.
That is not included in the second resolution with the 6 properties for the council's consideration.
Did you say 1501?
Now, which is the lot and block on that one?
15.
150115. Lot 15. First, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
On here. And it is not on the...
150113, the last one.
No.
It's not on either one?
Not
14 on the first one?
110115.
1101.
No, I don't think that's right. What number?
Thank you.
Yeah, that might help.
It goes to 2 pages.
150115, so it's down here. 1501.
It's not on either of them.
It was not on the...
I don't have...
You know what, we didn't even put it on the, we didn't put it on either
It's
of
not...
them.
It wasn't on the first resolution then.
Nope.
110115.
Yeah.
Mr. Tomko, it's on neither...
So it wasn't on either resolution?
It wasn't on either, so you're clear.
The notice went out because it was in the ordinance.
Yeah, that's what I got last week, first time I
So
ever
the
got it.
first one is ones that are coming on?
So I'm good?
I noticed by what goes...
I'd wait for the vote.
Huh?
I'd wait for the
Okay,
vote.
these are the ones
okay.
coming on?
Yeah, so let's,
These are the final ones staying on.
Okay.
so the ones that are listed are the
The ones that are listed in the
final
second
ones.
draft are the 6.
And
Those are the
because
ones
we don't
staying in.
see his on the list, it
Correct.
wasn't
Means he
included.
never was included in the first place.
He was never,
Well, he was in the ordinance.
It was a mistaken, yeah.
In
But
the
they
draft
caught
of the
it
resolution, he wasn't included in the...
but when we even did the first resolution, we realized you can't assess somebody who already had water. The project was even done.
That would be a good money
That would be a good moneymaker.
And the other ones that were affected, like his, were also not.
I thought it was for the sewer, because I got a letter from Dave Pataki.
Okay.
About that, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make sure.
I would kind of flip out too.
Yeah.
So no.
Sorry for the
So no, you're good.
Yeah. Adam took care of me, talk to me.
Good.
The process took care of it.
Yeah, process.
I don't want it on the record, I took care of everybody.
Adam took care of me.
Don't say that.
Don't put that on the record.
The process was the process.
So you can have a seat for a minute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who else wants to speak? Okay, yes, sir? Your name, and if you have your lot and block, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, Bob Dunick, I'm 30 West Sunset. And, let's see.
He's on.
No,
15015.
He's on.
These are the ones that are on.
I have a letter from my neighbor who could not attend, who asked me if I would read the letter into the record. This is from Michael and Ann Tizio, who are at 32 West Sunset.
Also off.
He's off too.
They're off too.
You're both
off.
You both are.
We
Both are, yeah. Well, you were included in the ordinance because they had thought that in anticipation there'd be a benefit to your property. Recommendations from administration are there are no benefits to your property from this project. So the recommendation to the council is to remove you from the list of assessments.
You own the house right before the Tizios, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
It's my understanding that the water main did not go down as far as your house?
That's correct.
There's no way for you to get city water?
Correct.
At this
The
time?
only ones that are still on
At this time, all right.
are these.
Thank you.
So the reason 30 and 32 are on here is because we have to go
these
through
are
this
off.
process. But
Yes.
the one before, we had already,
Well, the one before was so obvious.
right, that we didn't have to go through the process.
Technically, the council could say, well, you could extend it, so you're getting water pretty
Right.
close.
Right, no.
We don't recommend that.
Right,
All right.
okay.
Any other? Yes, sir. And ma'am, if you both want to come up? I don't know if you're together.
Yes,
Okay.
good evening. Hello. Names are Darya and Khan Ombilgar, 22 West Sunset.
You're also on here.
He's still on.
They're still on.
Yeah, the letter said your property was included as a beneficiary of the project, but I don't believe it's my property is a beneficiary because I don't use the city water. I think it's already available, but I don't use it. I've never used it, and I think the ordinance dated 2014, right? It said I was not the property owner at 2014. We were not informed about this ordinance at all. So I didn't even know.
When did you move into the property?
August 2015.
Oh, okay, so you came later, so it would have been the former.
And we have been on well water since then, so we have not used the city water.
Right, well, that's going to be a lot of the folks on here. These are properties that had well water, that when the pipe went down the street, it allowed you to connect to city water. Doesn't mean that you did connect to city water. You're telling us you're still using the well water, but it set the pipe down the street so that you could connect to the city water. That's what this is about. It was about those properties making public water available. Now, I'm having trouble understanding how, when you bought, this didn't come up and you weren't aware that this assessment was pending because...
No, we were aware of the assessment in place.
Okay.
But we were told that this could turn into a something that we'll pay, we won't pay. Then we put money in the escrow.
Yes.
They said 5 years will be enough for a decision to be made. That 5 year has passed a long time ago, and the money is returned to the previous homeowner.
So when you bought, money was put in escrow because they knew that this was outstanding.
Correct.
And somewhere along the line, a
And we never-
decision got made to release that money back to the people who sold it to you.
But the town did not act within the 5 years. That money is in place, and we're now left
That's
with someone
unfortunate,
else's.
yeah. That's unfortunate. The 5 years is not a state law on assessments. I don't, that would have been a decision made by a title company. That's an issue between you and whoever decided it was okay.
However, I think the fundamental problem here is not that
took too long.
who pays for it, but I guess anyone living in the town and paying the taxes to the town should be entitled to have access to public water. Although we're not getting it, I think we shouldn't be paying for it out of pocket.
And that's a fair comment. You don't believe that access to water should be the subject of a special assessment.
Did everyone else in this town pay for their own water when they got it?
I don't know completely the answer, but many certainly have. We've done assessment projects before for water. It's just they were typically done a long time ago.
That's a lot of money for something we do not benefit from. And
so
even if we decide to get it, we will have to do our own project. Our neighbor got it into their home, and they had to pay a lot of money to get it to their home.
Yes, there are properties actually, they're already connected. Yeah. They are our neighbors.
Right.
They are connected, they are beneficiaries, of course. And if I decide to connect, It's not a possibility for now. I don't believe the city water is healthier than my well water. So I'm not. I'm not going to connect.
And we were not
at least anytime soon. So. If I decide to connect again, I would pay for it, of course, for my share.
Yeah, we can't do that. A special assessment by law, by the way it operates, it either is done at the time when the water, when the water pipes are finalized, accepted, or it's not done. There are other charges, when you connect to water, but that's not the assessment
But we
process.
were not the property owners, I guess. At the time, if we were the property owner, we would vote against having like city water in our streets, because we do have healthy well water we're using. So we really don't want to pay for something that we didn't have anything to do with.
Yeah, and with sewer and water projects, it often works that way, that some people want them and some people don't. The pipe can't discriminate, though. It's got to serve everybody, or it doesn't have to serve. So, you raised several points for the council. One, you feel water should not be the subject of a special assessment, or at least in your case, and that's something for the council to consider, right? That's a municipal option, whether to make it a special assessment or not. We don't have to do that. So that's one point. You talked about how long it's been, and that affects you. The length of time had an effect on you because the escrow had been released that was held to cover this by the former owners who were responsible for it. So that's a point you make that I think the council can certainly consider that you raise. And finally, you raise the point of you don't really see it as a benefit to your property. The law says we do special assessments when there's a special benefit to the properties. We have a report from an appraisal expert that looks at properties with city water and properties with well water and their values when those properties are sold. Does an approach that compares them and concludes that there is, in general, they don't look at your specific property, but in general, in our area, properties are more valuable when they're connected to the city water. You can disagree, that can be different than your experience. That's just simply what was concluded in the report on the subject. So you really raised to the council your disagreement with that conclusion. You don't really see it as benefiting your property. And fair enough for the council to consider that. So.
And also, my main point is that a town is supposed to provide city water to all of their residents, not a certain...
Not through special assessments, yes. Yes, and that's a point you articulated clearly, and something that can be considered, that we shouldn't do assessments for water. And that can be understood. Okay, so I think you've made several points, and the council can consider those. All right.
Do we need to make any additional written application or hearing?
No, this is the public hearing on the subject. So you put your objections, your objections on the record, and you've communicated those to the council for consideration. I will say I think your objections in general would be the same objections that could apply to anyone here, with the exception of the special problem you have because of the escrow that took place. But otherwise, your comments and your exceptions could certainly be raised by some of the other folks. And those are part of the record, and those are in. The council will act one way or another. If your property is included, you do have the right to use the court process to challenge that assessment at that time.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the... Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution 2023-124, approval of the assessment?
Which version?
Which one?
I guess the second version with 6, is that the motion we're looking for?
Right. I wish they were labeled differently.
Yeah. I guess the version that deletes those properties recommended for deletion by administration.
The one with 6 properties
The one with 6
on it.
properties.
The one with 6 properties on it.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
This.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dreesy?
Yes.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes, I guess we're going to have to. Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is public hearing ordinance 2023-09.
Ordinance number 2023-09 is an ordinance establishing minimum and maximum salaries and pay rates for designated officials and employees of the Township of Pequannock.
All right, are there any comments from council? Nope. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. If anyone in the audience has any questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make the motion to
I'll make that.
You be quiet.
You can make it, I'll second it.
2023-09.
Ryan seconded it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Dracy?
Yes.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is introductions of ordinances. Ms. Marsh.
You have your snacks out? It's a long one.
Snacks? Okay.
One.
This is the ordinance.
Oh,
You just got one.
sorry.
Everybody's jumping ahead.
I'm sorry, blew that. This is ordinance number 2023-10, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the Township of Pequannock.
Mr. Brewer, any comments?
Nothing beyond my report unless there's any specific question.
Are there any comments from council?
Nope.
Nope.
Is there a motion to introduce ordinance on its first reading?
Motion to introduce ordinance 2023-10.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dracy?
Yes.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. All right, now we're getting the snacks out. The agenda, next on the agenda is items for resolution. Ms. Marsh.
Okay, beginning with Resolution R 2023-125, authorizing the acceptance of a hold harmless agreement from Fort Cameron. 126, approving the designated special event permit for the First Ed Squad Oktoberfest. 127, authorizing the issuance of a limousine license to Speedy Black Car LLC. 128, authorizing estimated tax bills in accordance with PL 1994, Chapter 72 for third quarter 2023. R 2023-129, authorizing the execution of an interlocal agreement between the Township of Pequannock and the Board of Education of Pequannock Township for vehicle maintenance and repair service. 2023-130, authorizing Schifano Construction Corporation under the use of the Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council for the annual road resurfacing improvement projects in the amount of $185,000. 131, authorizing the purchase of a 2023 Dodge Durango from designated vendors awarded contracts by the New Jersey State Contract. 132, authorizing the purchase of two 2023 Dodge Chargers from designated vendors awarded contracts by the Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council. 133, authorizing the use of the Union County Cooperative Pricing System for the purchase of IT infrastructure, fiber optic network, advanced applications and services. 134, authorizing the award of a contract for the purchase of a Pierce Custom Chassis 100-foot mid-mount aerial tower from Fire and Safety Services. The designated vendors awarded a contract by the Houston-Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program in the amount of $1,899,249.73. 2023-135, authorizing the purchase through Sourcewell Cooperative Pricing Group for a new Ravo 5 I-Series street sweeper and accessories. 136, authorizing the purchase of the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System for the purchase of a 47 XSB Western Star chassis from Hudson County Motors. 137, approval to grant an application and execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the New Street, Adams Street, Washington Street project. 138, authorizing the Municipal Alliance grant application for the fiscal year 2024. 139, authorizing the mayor to sign the 2023 Trail Construction Grant Program Letter of Intent for the Foothills Park Trails Phase 2 project. 140, authorizing the release of designated escrow deposits. 141, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the May 18th, 2023 bill list and 2018 FEMA elevation escrow list. and R 2023-142, authorizing the use of the North Jersey Wastewater Cooperative Pricing System for the well number 2 pump replacement.
Wow, that was very good. Thank you.
I practiced that one.
Are there any comments on the resolution from council?
A couple, if I may. So 128, we're approving the new tax rate?
No. Estimated tax bill, yes.
Okay, so we should get the final one hopefully soon?
So as a result of a delay in other towns giving their budgets to the county, they can't strike a rate. So what we have a history of doing is, as long as you're within 10%, plus or minus 5% of 100% of what you think of what it was in the prior year, I should say to be clear, you can do an estimated tax bill. We've done this the last 3 years. We're usually within about 1%. And this creates the opportunity to send the bills out, get the revenue in, without which we end up with a cash deficit in August and can't pay the other entities.
Okay. And that's where we thought it was going to end up?
We've been very successful in the past, yeah.
Okay. All right, and then just for all the cars and trucks and stuff we're buying, this was all part of our budget monies, correct?
Everything was as described in the capital budget plan or other discussions involving the acquisition of the vehicles. There was nothing outside of what had been previously approved through legislative action.
Just so the audience also knows, the public knows that all of these things that we're mentioning, there's no new debt. We're paying cash for all of these items.
Yeah, what did our budget come in at? $7 for the year?
$9.
$9 for the whole year.
$9 on the average house that was assessed $500.
We did good this year.
Yeah, it was in
tax assessors even smiling in the back.
Oh, yeah, where is he? Oh, there he is.
But that's just
Now
our
I can't see him
portion.
by the pole.
Sorry, Mr. Triciotti.
No, it was interesting on the fire truck apparatus. Our co-op shared savings was $10,000 on a $1.9 million truck.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, but anyway.
When you use a national co-op, there's a justification that requires some cost savings to use the co-op. Otherwise, to put out...
.0002.
It's like our BJ's card.
Otherwise, to put a spec together, we would have to hire an outside company because what happens in a non-legal way is some vendors will hand a proprietary spec to an entity and then they just go out and use it.
Right.
So this is a more compliant method.
All right, and then on the paving, 137, these are the worst streets in town?
Those are the worst streets in town that we have the best shot of getting funding for because of proximity to a school, a park, and a church.
Fair enough. All right.
Did we do the Safe Walk to Schools grant?
October.
Okay.
All right, that's it for me. Thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
No.
All right, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolutions R 2023-125 through R 2023-141.
I think it's
142.
142. Oh, I'm looking at
On
my
the blue
yellow.
copy.
142.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dreesy?
Yes.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
I'll be abstaining from R 2023-131 and R 2023-132, but yes to the rest. Did I do that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Right, motion carries.
There are no items listed for discussion this evening, and there are no reports or notices listed. Next on the agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilman Dreesy.
Thank you, Mayor. Not much tonight. Shade Tree Committee met. Looks like we'll be planting trees in the fall because it's too close to summer, so they're pushing it off. They're contacting the residents, etc., which is good. Sorry I missed the bench painting party. I know I saw Ryan there, so that was nice. And I just wanted to mention this playground thing is pretty cool.
It is very cool.
So we're going to help them out with however we can.
Yeah, I agree.
That would definitely be an asset to the community. So.
I agree 110%.
I love it.
Thank you, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
I'll just ditto what John just said. Number one, I missed the bench painting party, but I think it's great, and also this playground initiative is awesome. So, in addition to that, I just wanted to say that economic development. Okay, we had a ribbon cutting for a new business in town called Defying Gravity, and it's a great little coffee house. They have breakfast, lunch, gluten-free products.
I heard their stuff is really good,
And it's really
too.
good. It's
Especially
down...
like gluten-free sometimes
Yeah.
usually doesn't taste so good.
And
I've
it's
heard
down,
from a
it's
number
down
of
by the
people that
old
it's amazing.
Pal's, if you've been around long enough to know where Pal's was. What was it before that? It's down by Bill's Florist, right? Yeah, but,
Of the liquor store.
so it's wonderful down there.
Liquor store. Corner Liquors.
So we wish them well and wish them a lot of success, so please, go patronize your local businesses. What else? I talked to the town manager earlier about an initiative for economic development. I'll probably sit down with the current chair and Adam. There's some direction that economic development wants, so more to come on that. You might have saw some emails in regards to that, so just some initiatives that economic development can work on. Senior Citizen, the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, they met. They're working closely with Parks and Rec now on updating the website information for the senior center, and, when people move into town and a senior or their families want to find information for their parent or whatever, they're updating that so it's more transparent what the town offers for the seniors. Also, I know I brought up at a previous meeting about appointments, mid-year appointments for boards and committees. I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I want to get direction from the council if we want to go ahead and make any appointments for vacancies.
Do the committees even meet in the summer? Like, that's my feeling.
Well,
You're
wait, the flood went to quarterly, right? So you already
Flood
had
is
two
quarterly,
meetings.
yeah.
You already had 2 meetings?
Yes.
I say we just wait and put Nick on in 2024.
I mean, that's fine. I just want
I
direction.
mean, he's
'cause
participating now.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. I was asked, and I said I'd bring it up, and so that's why I brought it up, but at least I can say I brought it up at a meeting. You agree with that, John, that we should wait?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to do this every month.
They're still participating,
For something
so.
else.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a board that we need, planning board, zoning board.
planning, zoning.
Yeah, these are more the
That's a different
committees,
story.
and that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine, I don't have a problem with it. He is the person I was talking about is participating anyway, and they are just meeting quarterly, so I'm fine with that. And then I have 2 questions for the town manager, if you don't mind me bringing these up. We might have talked about this at a previous meeting. There was a valve or something, what was it? There was a valve that was supposed to be replaced on Carlson. Do you know anything about that? On Carlson Place that was servicing water? Do we know anything about that?
There was an allegation made by a resident
okay.
that there had been an improper connection 3 years ago. And when it was investigated 3 years ago, it was determined that there was nothing afoot. So the allegation was resurfaced by the resident, and the water department is confirming that there's no action that needs to be taken.
Okay, that's all I want to know. All right. Other than that, I have nothing else. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Hurd.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to say, I ate at the Flying Gravity yesterday morning, and it was fabulous. So I'm glad that they're open. I think it could be a good place for everybody to hang out, have some coffee and tea, and all that wonderful stuff. While I was there, I actually went next door to Panther Park. You know that we had one of our Boy Scouts, actually a bunch of Boy Scouts, build the structure over there, and now they have stained it, so it's looking even better. They're just waiting for benches to come in, and then it'll be 100% done. I was at the painting of the yellow bench in Greenview Park, and that was phenomenal. Don't forget that we are cutting the ribbon on the 3rd at 9 a.m., so it'd be great if all you guys could be there, because I do think it's a awesome cause. And let's see, lastly, I'm definitely for the play set, whatever we need to do to make that happen. Let's make that happen. Oh, and Traps over at Hillview today was a great success. I appreciate everybody that came and supported the kids being entrepreneurs. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you.
It was at North Boulevard, not Hillview.
Hillview had it as well.
Oh, okay. I think all
Yeah,
three.
so multiple.
All three were at North Boulevard this afternoon. Gervais.
That's awesome.
They were all at the same place.
Yeah. Yep.
The cars were everywhere.
All right, Councilwoman Russell.
Okay, I don't have a lot. Just a couple of dates. Don't forget PV Park, May 27th is opening day. June 11th, the Rotary is having a 5K. If you're interested in running in it or donating it, or you want a sign or anything, reach out to Rotary or myself. Beach Party, June 17th at PV Park from 12 to 3. That is free. Our fabulous fireworks show will be June 23rd at Pequannock High School. Food Trust Festival on July 8th. I know it's way down in the future, but mark your calendars. October 7th is the Oktoberfest right behind us, sponsored by our wonderful First Aid Squad, and the 14th is the Hoedown. The Environmental Club did the plantings for the pollinator garden. Now, they wanted to do a dedication, and they wanted to know what council thought. They were thinking of pushing the dedication back until the fall because we just did the plantings. So then there'll be stuff there to look at instead of everybody going, what are we doing here? So if you guys want it now, they were...
Was that a pun on word? Bee stuff?
There will be bees and stuff.
Quite a buzz.
So
Doesn't matter.
do you guys have a preference?
So you want to go there when there's more bees?
I'm allergic, so, but they're not interested in me. They'll be interested
Whatever
in...
they think.
Yeah, whatever they
Okay,
want to
so
do.
tomorrow's the meeting, so I'll just say it's up to them. I think they're leaning towards the fall, so then, it can be nice and nice. Library, we had a meeting, everything's good. Look for a lot of nice stuff being done to the library coming up. They put an additional $300,000 into their capital improvement plan, so now they're gonna have $500,000 over the next 5 years to do a lot of great stuff to the library, so I'm excited to see that. Congrats to Defying, do we know if it's a Gravitia? T-I-A? Yeah.
No, it's TEA, because I asked
TEA.
that. I thought it was Gravitia. They said it's Gravity.
Gravity, but TEA. Also, we didn't do a ribbon cutting for it, but I know they just opened up Just Poppin', a balloon, so if anybody's looking for...
It's scheduled.
They did, I was wondering, but they
don't have a
did
date yet.
already opening.
Yes,
So-
they're just doing it.
So if anybody's looking for balloon arches, or they want to send me some balloons, or the mayor some balloons, that's in the Clock Tower Shopping Center.
Yeah, they'll be doing an official grand opening
Yeah,
for it.
I've seen their stuff on Facebook, kind of cute stuff. And that's it, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Russell. All right, so I kicked off the shopping spree today at 4:50 for the fifth grade TREPS program. There was 75 tables of young business students that made products and were selling their products. I walked around some really neat products that were for sale. All the kids needed to know how to make change. They weren't just selling their product; they were selling themselves. Hi, how are you? What can I interest you in my product? So it was pretty neat seeing them and hearing them. Congratulations to the two teachers that oversee that project. Because the first year I think I was mayor, I think there was maybe 30 tables. This year there was 75. I told her, I said, you probably should move it to the high school next year.
Definitely.
More parking, because the parking down the boulevard was crazy, and more space for the kids that want to do it. So congratulations to all of the fifth graders. Grand opening at Defying Gravity, as everyone said, a great place. Their products may be gluten-free, but I tell you what, they don't taste like gluten-free. They taste like a regular, I had a chocolate chip cookie, tasted like a regular chocolate chip cookie. So I'm hearing nothing but great things. I had the chicken salad sandwich the other day for lunch. So great products there. Stop in and see them. I attended the prayer service for Armed Forces this past Saturday at the church next to Gilly, next to Tavern 5. Company 2 is having their 100th anniversary celebration on June 10th. And on June 4th, it's Popping Balloon. The time will be 11:45 is the ribbon cutting, and it's at 574 North Pumpton Turnpike in the Clock Tower Shopping Center. So she's having a grand opening, ribbon cutting. So if all of us can attend, it would be great.
What time on the 4th?
June 4th. The email that Louise sent me is 11:45 is the ribbon cutting, but she said Sunday, June 4th at 12, would like to do the ribbon cutting at 11:45. So be there at 11:45 just in case we do it at 11:45, because she's got two times here. So,
Okay.
But the owner did reach out to me, and I put her in touch with Louise. It sounds like a really neat business in town, and glad to have another new business in town. And that's all I have for my reports. Thank you for all you people that prayed for good weather on May 12th, the day my son got married. So it was a beautiful, beautiful weather day and a beautiful wedding, so thank you. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized, come to the microphone, and provide your name for the record. Seeing none, we're going to move to closed session. There are no minutes presented for approval. Next on the agenda is closed session discussion. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2023-143, authorizing the Township Council to meet in executive session to discuss litigation of a tax appeal? Jonathan?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? At this time, the public portion of the meeting is in recess for closed session.